Hey gang, it's Ian again, and today, Ian's science demonstration / lab of the day, the density tower. Alright gang, this is something that you can do at home, okay? We're not using any harmful chemicals, and this is something that you can have a little bit of fun with. Just make sure you ask mom or dad or grandma or whoever's there that it's okay if you use these things around the house, okay? I'm going to tell you what we're going to use. On your hub page, I'm going to provide you a list of some other things that you can use, okay? So what we're doing is we're looking at liquids with different densities, okay? And density just means, it kind of means how much stuff is in a fixed amount of the liquid, okay? And it's things that are more dense have more stuff, so they weigh more. And things that are less dense have less stuff, so they're lighter, okay? Stuff means atoms, okay? Now, we're not going to get too much into that, but just know that more dense liquids tend to be a lot thicker, and they weigh more for the same amount. And less dense liquids tend to be lighter, okay? And they weigh less for the same amount, okay? So here are the chemicals that we are going to use in order, all right? We're going to use honey, okay? Now, honey's not cheap, okay? So we're not going to use very much of it. We're just going to use a little bit, but maybe double check with someone at home if it's okay if you use a little bit of honey, all right? The second thing we're going to use, in my cupboard, I had corn syrup, okay? You can use corn syrup. You can use maple syrup. Maple syrup, though, is expensive. Corn syrup is, well, it's cheap, okay? And it's so this is the reason why when I was a kid, we never had maple syrup on our pancakes. We only had corn syrup because it was a lot cheaper than maple syrup. And that's the way my mom shopped, okay? So anyways, I'm using this. It's cheap and it's going to work. All right, the next thing we're going to use is dish soap, okay? Just regular old dish soap. I took this bottle out from underneath my sink, all right? Next, we are going to use just plain old water. Now, one thing I'm going to do to make this work better, I'm going to add some food coloring, okay? I'm just going to put a couple drops of blue food coloring in there. And the reason is it'll make the water show up better. But I assure you, okay, it's just water, but now it's blue water. You'll see why I did that in a couple of minutes. All right? And lastly, I have some vegetable oil. Okay? Just your regular old big bottle of vegetable oil. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Okay? Is we're going to basically pour these into a glass, and you'll be amazed. They're not going to mix together. Okay? So, I have this big, tall, clear glass, all right? And the reason I used this glass was it was simply just the narrowest glass that I had in my cupboard, okay? You don't want to use a big, thick container because you'll have to put too much stuff in, and then you're just kind of being wasteful, right? Remember, we're not at school, right, where you're using mom's stuff or grandma's stuff. In this case, I'm using stuff that's my wife's that she likes to cook with. So I'm not going to waste it, except for the honey. That's mine. I love honey on toast. It's like my favorite breakfast, okay? So we're going to go in order from most dense to least dense, okay? So I'm going to take some honey, and I'm just going to put some honey right at the bottom, okay? And you're going to see honey, it's thick, okay? It comes out, and I don't have to put too much in. I'm just going to put a little bit in there, okay? So you can see the honey. It's a nice yellow color. There's some air bubbles in it there just because of, well, I had to kind of pour it from a distance, right? Next, I'm going to go with my corn syrup. Okay, so honey's light brown. This corn syrup is a darker brown. And I'm just going to pour it down the edge of the glass. Okay. All right, there you go. So I'm going to bring that closer to the camera, and you can see I have two different layers. I have that golden layer of honey, and then I have that dark brown layer. That is my corn syrup. Okay? Next, my soap. Okay, and my soap's orange. I kind of wish I had a different color of soap because these colors are all close to each other. Okay, but I'm going to pour my orange soap layer in. Okay, I'm going to bring it closer. Look at that. 3 layers. Yellow, red, orange. Pretty cool. Now, I'm going to take my water. Okay, and remember, I only made my water blue just so you could see this better, okay? Now the water we got to pour in slowly. It's okay if you spill a little bit. It's not the end of the world. Boop. Now I got to let the water sit for a second, okay? Now remember, if you pour your water in too fast, water and soap will get all like, soapy bubbles, right? But as long as you pour it in slowly, look at that. 4 layers. Golden honey, brown corn syrup, my orange soap, and then my blue water. So 4 layers. All right? And let's cap it off. Let's go with a 5th layer. Okay? Gonna take my oil. Okay, and again, this is just regular vegetable oil. Okay, and again, I'm gonna pour this in really slowly, just along the side. Okay? Take our time. If you pour it in too fast, things will kind of get all mixed up. And there you go, my oil there. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layers. So 5 different liquids that are all separated by density. Okay? Now, we can do a couple other cool things with this. All right? I have an assistant off to the side who's going to go into the fridge and is going to get me a small cherry tomato. Okay? So a cherry tomato is just a little tomato. And I have a couple other things here as well. Okay? So, we're going to drop a couple of things in here. Okay? The first thing I'm going to drop in is this little plastic cap. It's just the cap from my food coloring, okay? So I'm going to drop it in. There it goes. It floats on the surface, okay? Which is, well, what you would expect from a little plastic cap, right? The second thing I'm going to put in is a cherry tomato, okay? So just a little tomato. What? Floats in the middle. Doesn't go all the way to the bottom. Look at that. So it sinks through the water layer, okay, but it stops in my soap layer. Okay, so I've got my plastic cap on top. I've got my cherry tomato in the middle. And last but not least, I have a coin. Okay, I have just a regular old quarter. Watch this. My quarter's heavy. It goes all the way to the bottom. It's right down here. So we have our 5-layer tower, honey, corn syrup, soap, water, oil, and then we have a plastic cap floating on the top, a cherry tomato suspended in the middle, a quarter all the way at the bottom. Okay? So, here's what I want you to do. Use the list I give you online, all right? And try to do this at home. Just make sure you check with mom and dad or grandma or whoever beforehand, okay? And make some layers. Some of the other things you can use in there, you can use milk. You can use rubbing alcohol, okay? Not alcohol like the stuff you drink. Rubbing alcohol is like the stuff you put on cuts. But with everything going on right now, we may not want to waste rubbing alcohol, okay? It seems to be one of those things people buy at the grocery store a lot or the pharmacy a lot, okay? But try to do this, even if you can only do 2. Even if you just do oil and water, okay? Or soap, oil, and water. You can do 3 layers. Give it a try. It's lots of fun. okay? And you learn a little cool science, all right? And again, our 5-layer density tower, don't drink this, okay? Because of the soap, obviously. It would taste terrible, all right? There you go. All right, gang. Till tomorrow, do some science at home, have some fun, and we'll see you soon.